Did y'all see your boy Kanye? Did y'all see Kanye issued another apology? He's apologizing again. Kanye, he took out a full page advertisement in the Wall Street Journal, and it's titled "To Those I've Hurt." So he issued a public apology addressing multiple groups that he said he harmed, and that includes the Jewish community and the Black community. He apologized for all the anti-Semitic remarks and actions that he made over the years. He was saying that he lost touch with reality.
Now, I told y'all that this was going to happen. Kanye West was going to have to come out and go on his apology tour. He was going to have to go get some sensitivity training. They was going to take him to the museums, and they was going to basically to reacclimate him back into his position to continue to make money, right? They're going to have to reprogram him and retrain him. And everybody was jumping on the bandwagon when he was calling out all the corporations, and he was going ham and saying some stuff, and he was, going in on Adidas. He was going in on all of the protected class people, right? Those people that run industry. He was going in on them, right? And he was saying, how they own everything. And man, listen, he was holding up those German symbols. He was wearing he was just going crazy, right? And now he's saying that all this stuff happened because he suffers from bipolar disorder. And when he was in this car accident, people was really focusing on the things that you could see, the outer injuries, but not the injury to his frontal lobe, not the injury to his brain, right? So now, because he's trying to get back in the whip, because they kicked him out the whip. They drove him to the light, and they drove at about 160 miles an hour. Right before they stopped at the light, they boom, opened the door, kicked him right out the whip, right? And he was out there on his own. He was saying that they was medicating him. They was doing all kinds of wild stuff to him, right? But let's go back and look at some of the stuff that he was saying about that protected class. Now, mind you, these are his opinions, not mine. I have my own personal opinions. I'll keep them to myself while I'm on this platform that I don't own. But these were Kanye West's opinions that he's now walking back.
Yeah, the way Jewish people control their family. This is my thing is my relationship with the Jews. I'm friends with some Jews. I'm not friends with some Jews. Right. It's what people come up to me talking, ask me questions, tell me to come to Shabbat dinner for about 800th time and shit. Like, nobody got no problem. Like I said, I said what I said. Yeah. I said what I said, and ain't nobody said nothing. Where my apology? Or what I was saying was just completely non-factual. So y'all can gaslight me then. But wow. I'm one of many people that had the same issue. Now, when we talk about why my accounts got frozen, right? Wow. That ain't that. They just like, re-apologize. Re-apologize. You don't gotta, bro, I said what I said. I'm standing on what I stand on, and I'm not having none of that. Nobody playing with me. Nobody apologize. No coming, trying to tax and all that. Like, man, let's have a conversation about what it really is, how these contracts is too complicated.
Now, these was all the things that he was saying about that protected class. Now, this is the thing. It doesn't matter whether we agree or disagree. What FBA need to be on is FBA business and building what they need to build for themselves. We're not in position to challenge anything, right? There's some truths to what he's saying. There's some things I may disagree with, right? But these are his opinions, not mine. I'm more focused now on the Black community. I spent time calling that stuff out and found out that I have no power to change it in the position that I'm in, right? Of the things that I need for my community. Right? So I can study that and say, well, what do I need to do going forward where I can create the leverage I want to make the change in the community that I so desire? But Kanye wasn't finished.
And my thing about the media, the majority of the media, over 50% of the media, at least it's probably 80%, but over 50% of the media is run by Jewish executives. And they allow all of this abortion driven content that more affects the darker Jew, the Black people, more than any other race. But then you ask the question, you can't even Google, like when you Google Jewish abortion rate, it'll be one piece of information. The next information is like from 4 years ago or something. There's no information about it. And if I attempt, my mom said try and spell it. If I if I fail by attempting to have a conversation with a Jewish person about the abortion rate, they won't allow the conversation to be had. That's why I said, hey, I'm me tooing the Jewish race. That's saying, hey, you guys got to come up and say, did you do this or did you not do this? And I'm calling a lot of times, say people feel like I'm very selfish driven because I'll talk about things I specifically went through. So I said, okay, well, I'm this voice for the actors, the musicians, the athletes specifically. I know are in situations where at least 4 of the people that they do business with are Jewish, and those people know each other, and the athletes come and go, and that 4, 5, 6, 8 people remain. The athletes come and go like cattle's in the stable. The actors come and go. The musicians come and go. And that mainstay of that Jewish, just say crew, because it sounds less ramped up than sounds less mentally ill. So let's say there is definitely a crew. And I've been there and I've been talked to certain kind of ways. And you know who else wouldn't be talked to a certain kind of way? Kobe Bryant. You don't get talked to a certain way. I don't get talked to a certain kind of way. So things that I'm saying out loud, hyped up or calmly, I'm saying things 5 times a day that Black people, leaders, not specific Black people, just leaders throughout time have been killed for things that we're doing 5 times a day. So one thing for the Black community and all of this like woke culture and, you know, Charlemagne and different things, it's like, bro, this is getting ridiculous at this point. People got to put some respect on the fact that I'm actually brave enough to say this out loud.
So he's sitting with Candace Owens, who is the ultimate grifter, right? And she's the one saying that she married for IQ, so she married this W man. Mind you, she's Black, right? So he's already, listen, you already out. You're not even back in the Black whip at all, right? But he's saying all this stuff about that community, right? And, you know, there's a lot of things that could be said about that community that we can sit down and call out, and maybe they may hide under the protection of the stuff that they use. Right. These are things that conversations that can be had. But at the end of the day, they have power, money, and backing to control their image and what they want to control, whether we like it or not. That's something that I had to learn. That's something that some OGs, when I was online every day going crazy, calling that community out, one of my OGs in YouTube called me after a live stream one day and said, "What are you doing? Do you own this platform?" I said, "No." He said, "So how could, if you keep talking the way you talk and they take you off their platform, how you going to get the message out to the people? Learn how to talk. Learn how to focus on what you need to be focused on. Because in the position you're in right now, do you have the power to change anything? No. Do you have the people behind you that's in agreement with you, that's willing to move and sacrifice things in order for change to go in the future?" I said, "No." He said, "Well, shut up then and keep doing your work and do what you need to do in the position you in, and let things take a life of its own," right? Because the people will come out and say, "Hey, we want to make this change." They say, "Well, what sacrifices are you willing to make in order to see the change that you want?" And you start seeing people fall off like leaves on a tree in the fall. They're not willing to make those sacrifices. So it ain't no need to even talking about that situation if you ain't willing to sacrifice nothing, right? As a group, not just the one person. So what he did was he came back and he made this an apology, right? He put this whole elaborate apology together, man, because he's trying to get back in the whip, in the good graces of those people, right? He's trying to get back in the good graces. Check this out. So we knew that it was going to come to this, right? We knew that this was coming. So now Kanye West, he got a new album coming out. Those people that protect the class, they don't like him. They've been against him. And now he has to come out now and do his apology tour. That's why I wasn't rocking with none of that stuff he was saying 4 years ago, 3 years ago, too. I wasn't rocking with none of that because I knew that it was all fraudulent. And I knew he was going to have to go on his apology tour to be accepted back into the whip. They kicked him out the whip. He tried to be an equal to the people that's running the show right now, right? So he offers this apology. He says, 25 years ago, I was in a car accident that broke my jaw and caused injury to the right frontal lobe of my brain. At the time, the focus was on the visible damage, the fracture, the swelling, and the immediate physical trauma. The deeper injury that was inside my skull went unnoticed. Comprehensive scans were not done, neurological exams were limited, and the possibility of a frontal lobe injury was never raised. It wasn't properly diagnosed until 2023. The medical oversight caused serious damage to my mental health and led to my bipolar type 1 diagnosis. Bipolar disorder comes when its own defense system. The bipolar disorder comes with its own defense system. Denial. When you're manic, you don't think you're sick. You think everyone else is overreacting. You feel like you're seeing the world more clearly than ever, when in reality, you're losing your grip entirely. Now he's in full understanding mode, right? Once people label you as crazy, you feel as if you cannot contribute anything meaningful to the world. It's easy for people to joke and laugh it off when, in fact, this is a very serious, debilitating disease that you can die from. According to the World Health Organization and Cambridge University, people with bipolar disorder have a life expectancy that is shortened by 10 to 15 years in average, and 2 times or 3 times higher all-cause mortality rate than the general population. This is on par with severe heart disease, type 1 diabetes, HIV, and cancer, all lethal and fatal if left untreated. The scariest thing about this disorder is how persuasive it is when it tells you you don't need help. It makes you blind, but convince you convince you have insight. You feel powerful, certain, and unstoppable. I lost touch with reality. Things got worse the longer I ignored them. I said and did things I deeply regret. Some of the people I love the most, I treated the worst. You endured fear, confusion, humiliation, and the exhaustion of trying to have someone who was at the time unrecognizable. Looking back, I became detached from my true self. In that fractured state, I gravitated towards the most destructive symbol I could find. That's that sticker that the Germans use, and even sold T-shirts bearing it. One of the difficult aspects of having bipolar type 1 are disconnected moments, many of which I still cannot recall, that led to poor judgment and reckless behavior that oftentimes feels like an out-of-body experience. I regret I am deeply mortified by my actions in that state, and I am committed to accountability, treatment, and meaningful change. It does not excuse what I did. I am not a, those German people, or anti-Semite. I love the Jewish people. To the Black community, which held me down through all of my highs and lows and in the darkest times. The Black community is unquestionably the foundation of who I am. And I am so sorry to have let you down. I love us. In early 2025, I fell into a 4-month-long manic episode of psychotic, paranoid, impulsive behavior that destroyed my life. As the situation became increasingly unsustainable, there were times I didn't want to be here anymore. Having bipolar disorder is notable of constant mental illness. When you go into manic episodes, you are ill at that point. When you are not in an episode, you are completely normal. And that's when the wreckage from the illness hits the hardest. Hitting rock bottom a few months ago, my wife encouraged me to finally get help. He says he loves the Black community, but he has a W wife, right? And now he's trying to ingratiate himself back with all the other communities that he disrespected. He's not with us, y'all. Don't fall for the okie doke. I found comfort in Reddit forums of all places. Different people speak on being in manic or depressive episodes of a similar nature. I read their stories and realized that I was not alone. it's not just me who ruins their entire life once a year, despite taking meds every day and being told by the so-called best doctors in the world I am not bipolar, but merely experiencing symptoms of autism. My words as a leader in my community have global impact and influence. Nobody, you're not a leader in our community. In my mania, I lost complete sight of that. As I find my new baseline and new center through an effective regimen of medication, therapy, exercise, and clean living, I have newfound, much needed clarity. I am pouring my energy into positive, meaningful art, music, clothing, designs, and new areas to help the world. I am asking for sympathy. I am not asking for sympathy or a free pass, though I aspire to earn your forgiveness. I write today simply to ask your patience and understanding as I find my way home with love. Yay. No, he's looking for sympathy from those people because his bank account is directly connected to that, right? He don't care nothing about none of that stuff. Man, let me tell you something, man. He don't care nothing about no black community. If he cared about the black community, he would have loved a black woman enough to marry her and keep that wealth trickling down throughout our communities. Don't be bamboozled, led astray. He's trying to get back in the whip with those people. And he says some very disrespectful things to them and about their culture, and they kicked him out the whip. They kicked him out the whip. No matter whether we like it or not, that there's certain people that's running the show right now, and it ain't us. Even this platform I'm using, they run it, they own it. It ain't us, right? So we got to watch what we say and watch what we do so that way we can be able to disseminate information. Whether we like it or not, it is what it is. It is what it is. But let's listen to some more. Let's listen to what he said. So during the apology, he also made some apologies to the black community. Now, y'all remember when he went and he said that slavery was a choice, right? He made those statements. Remember this?
But, when you hear about slavery for 400 years, that sounds like a choice. Like, you was there for 400 years and it's all of y'all? It's like we're mentally in prison. I like the word prison because slavery goes too direct to the idea of blacks. It's like slavery, Holocaust Jews, slavery is blacks. So prison is something that unites us as one race, blacks and whites being one race. That we're the human race. We're human beings and stuff.
That. And I question the death of George Floyd. It hurt my people. It hurt the black people. So I want to apologize to hurting them because right now God has shown me by what Adidas is doing and by what the media is doing, I know how it feels to have a knee on my neck now. So I thank you, God, for humbling me and letting me know how it really felt. Because how could the richest black man ever be humbled other than to be made to not be a billionaire in front of everyone off of one comment that actually, if you look at the definition of DEFCON, it means to get extra defense, which obviously I must have needed.
Yeah. And see, this idiot, at one point he would go on to like he would go on there and he would say slavery was a choice. Now, this is what happens when you put a microphone in people's faces and they're not educated. Because we had, damn near 200 and something insurrections in this country. From the New York conspiracy to the German Coast uprising in 1811, the Stoner Rebellion, it was in 1759. You had the Nat Turner's rebellions, the Denmark Vesey Rebellion, the Black Seminole Slave Rebellion. The Gullah Wars. And listen, the Igbo Landing. You had so many different things. The Chesapeake Rebellion, right? The Bacon's Rebellion. So you had all of these different rebellions. Because black people didn't want to be enslaved. What happens is you allow them to tell the story. We was always fighting. To try to liberate ourselves, man. Right? The Second Creek, the Creek Wars, right? The Amistad seizures, right? We were involved in so many different things in trying to liberate our people, run into freedom, right? Always fighting. But when you let them tell the story, they just tell the story that you was just docile, you was just, man, listen. But he tried to walk that back. right? He tried to walk that back when he started getting heat from people.
And I remember going on TMZ and saying, slavery is a choice. And they medicated me for saying that, for having that opinion and saying it out loud. But as I put those contracts up, I'm saying this is a choice. As
You didn't mean people being abducted and brought into slavery and put into chains was a choice. What you were talking about is people making decisions that would enslave them financially and enslave their life.
Yeah.
But it was taken out of context, and it was taken in the least charitable way, and they decided to try to say, look at crazy Kanye, look at this shit he's saying.
Yeah.
And then they medicate you.
Yes. And the media is always taking anything out of context that isn't a part of the overall narrative.
So that's him trying to walk back because he was getting the pushback, right? People around him was like, dude, what are you talking about? Now, we know darn well what he meant when he said that, right? These were two different things, but he goes on to Joe Rogan and he tries to walk it back and says that he was talking about those contracts that he signed, right? When they signed with Adidas, his record deal, right? When he was talking about, the way his record deal was set up and how they'll be able to keep his money. When you read all into the contract, they got like 200 pages of how when you think you're getting out from under it, here they come with another way. That he was trying to get out from under those contracts, so he started going crazy and calling them out for a lot of stuff, right? But the thing is, I seen a video when what's the guy name, man, from Wildin' Out, the one that got Wildin' Out, that got all the babies. I'm picturing his face, but his name is escaping me right now. But y'all know who I'm talking about. When he had to go do his sensitivity training, a rabbi came on there and was like, when you a sheep and a room full of lions, right? You it's nothing you can do about it, right? He was referencing something in regards to that. And when I heard that, I said, you know what? Listen, he flexing his muscles, but I get it. They got the winning hand. So when you on the battlefield, you got to know how to move, right? So with me, like I said, these are his opinions. These are his opinions. I'm focusing on FBA business and what we need to do on our block, right? But he tried to walk that back because he got in trouble. But then now Tariq Nasheed, he also heard about this and he came and he said this.
Did y'all see your boy Kanye? Did y'all see Kanye issued another apology? He's apologizing again. Kanye, he took out a full-page advertisement in the Wall Street Journal, and it's titled, "To Those I've Hurt." So he issued a public apology addressing multiple groups that he said he harmed, and that includes the Jewish community and the Black community. He apologized for all the anti-Semitic remarks and actions that he made over the years. He was saying that he lost touch with reality during manic episodes linked to bipolar type 1. Family, didn't I told y'all when he went on this stuff, y'all go back and listen to my archives. I told y'all he was going to have to go on an apology tour. Folks was all acting dumb. It's a chess move. Y'all just get. He calling them out. Man, shut up. Stop. I said, man, Kanye is going to have to apologize. He's going to do an apology. And he's going to say it was some manic episodes, mental. He's doing exactly what I said it was going to do. I told y'all that was going to happen. Y'all cheering that nonsense on. No, he doing the wrong thing by doing that because he was trying to pander to that alt-right crowd. I knew where that was going. And fools up here, y'all just scared. No, y'all scared. Man, shut up. Stop it. All right. Yeah, he apologized to Black people too. But yeah, he admitted that his past behavior, including praising Adolf Hitler and selling clothes with swastikas and all these other anti-Semitic statements, he deeply regrets them. He said it does not excuse what he did. He is not a Nazi or an anti-Semite. He says he loves Jewish people in the Wall Street Journal ad. He said he's committed to accountability, treatment, meaningful change. He explained that his condition affected his judgment and behavior. So the apology was broadly basically aimed at acknowledging the pain his words and actions caused across the board. And he apologized to the Black community. He said he recognized the Black community supported him through all of his highs and lows and the darkest times. He said the Black community was the foundation of who he was. People using that word foundation a lot, right? He said he's sorry to have let you down. I love us. Okay. Yeah. Okay. See, my thing with him, the thing that really, when he dissed Beyonce and Jay's kids, you should know better than that. To me, that was real tacky. When you're talking about kids and all that, you should know better. That's the thing that really, really lost it for me with him, just attacking them babies. Attacking because, FBAs, we don't do no shit like that. You know not to do that. But see, the thing is, man, look, I knew all of this was going to happen because Kanye, he'll be talking crazy again by April. Right. But Kanye has realized he's become a man without a base. He doesn't have a base no more. All those stunts and all that inflammatory talk and trying to court those reactionary crowds. He's ended up basically politically and culturally homeless. The album flopped. He put out an album that didn't do nothing. That album flopped. And the thing is, you can't survive as a Black artist without a real community base behind you. See, you can't float off controversy forever. And that's what some of these internet dudes do. They think they're just going to say and do controversial stuff, and that'll get hot for a quick minute, but then you got to keep doing controversy. You got to keep doing controversial stuff, and then it gets played. It becomes it looks like a finesse. The shock value wears off, and then you're going to have to bring some substance.
So as I say, like a lot of these guys, man, they sign them contracts. They want to be in the lights. They want to be, they want a $24 million house. They want a $50 million yacht. They want to be all on TV, the cameras and the glare. And they tell you, we're going to make you a star. We never said we never said we're going to make you filthy rich. We're going to make you a star. You can have all the coochie you want. You can travel. You can do all these things, but we're going to control your money. We're going to control your image too. And you got one time to mess up. One time to mess up, and you're going to end up like a lot of people. So when you want to sign that contract and be part of Hollywood and be part of that industry, it is what it is. It is what it is. Now you want to complain when they don't treat you right. When you already knew what the game was going in, you chose that lifestyle. A lot of y'all walk in the room backwards. You don't walk in dignified with your chest in the air as a man. You walk in there backwards already ready to compromise. That's the way you walk in the room, right? A lot of these women, in order to get a leg up in Hollywood, you put your legs up. Now you want to turn around and blame the industry. No, it was what you was willing to sacrifice to be in that movie. You could have said no and went home. The same way, like I always say, why do you need to have a $40 million house? I don't care who you are. Why? Just think of the mentality. A lot of places that we come from in the South, black and white, that in the South, for $40 million, you know what you can buy in South Carolina and take care of your family and everybody else? Why you have to be the one? Look at me, everybody. I have a $40 million mansion over here. And they telling you, what are you willing to sacrifice to get that? How about I'd rather get me buy me some land and just spend $5 million, and I can put my siblings or my family on the land down there in Columbus, Georgia, over there, and be out the way and come out to Cali to work. How about I do that? Right? You want those lights. You want that. 90% of these people that's complaining, y'all, listen to me. They chose that lifestyle. One thing about the enemy, one thing about Satan. Remember back in the day when Grandma used to say the devil is a liar? The devil ain't no liar. The devil don't never lie. The devil tell you the truth right in front of your face. And it's up to you whether to decipher certain things, but he gives you the truth. The problem is you choose that lifestyle because you think it's not going to happen to you. He tell you everything. The devil even show you the outcomes of people before you, and you still choose the lifestyle. All of us, we choose to go into these, and he'll tell you, man, that girl right there got the best coochie you ever gonna get. Look at that body. It's a pile of money over here. You got cars, houses, everything. But right over there, it's some quicksand right there. It's death over there. It's HIV over there, right? But, man, all you gotta do is just go around all them joints, man. And when you get around them, oh, what's right there? So as soon as you go in there, you fall into HIV, or you fall into quicksand, or you fall into instant death, it's everybody else's fault but yours. No, you chose that lifestyle. You chose to sign that contract. You chose to take that ride down Hollywood and Vine and had that jizz dripping off your chin and they took a picture of you. So now they got you compromised. So now you never speak up on certain things, or you sign unwanted contracts. Yeah. That's the lifestyle you chose. I'm just saying. That's just the way it go, man. You got a choice, man. Say no. Say no. Stand on your principles. But you know. So now he's ready to get back in the whip again. That's why he came out there and told you that stuff he was doing with his cousin, all that kind of stuff. So now when all his shenanigans come out, y'all give him a pass, man. You ain't fooling me, Kanye, man. Get up out of here, man. If y'all made it this far in the video, hit that like button, subscribe to Street Media TV, leave your comments in the comment section. Let me know what you guys think. And remember, I love y'all. Till the next time. Peace.